everyone, and welcome to Tuesday's Tips with Lauri. Today we are going to start with our part 4 of our series of our Kimberbear and how do we make our Kimberbear start to finish with lots of helpful tricks and tips. This is just been a lot of fun. I want to thank all of our sponsors. We've got Kimberbell, Shannon Fabrics, Clover, and Fairfield, and they've each sponsored a part of this Kimberbear to make this project for you. There's Polyfill is from the Fairfield. Clover has given us 2 of these tools that we have found very useful and helpful in making the Kimberbear. And Shannon Fabrics is one of the sponsors, and the fabrics that they have sponsored is the Cuddle Luxe and the Luxe fabric, and it's very, very soft, thick napped minky. I love the feel of that one. As well as Kim at Kimberbell and her wonderful design of the Kimberbear. We want to also thank my husband because we are also in quarantine and we are coming to you from my dining room, and he is the photographer for me today. All right, so to start with the very last part of the part 4 series, some of you may not have flipped all of your pieces to start with, so I wanted to show you one more time how you would use this bodkin tool and flip the rest of your pieces. And it's very handy in flipping the heads, the body, every part of the bear. So to start with, you can see that this opens up and there's little teeth inside of there. The most important part is to get those teeth open so that you can put some of that fabric. And what I do is like to grab the seam. You don't want to just grab the fur, you want to grab the seam. So I like to feel with my thumb, and I can feel that I've got the teeth open, and make sure that you get that seam down in that teeth. And I use that tool just to push it down inside to make sure it's got a good grip, because if you don't have a good grip, it will come loose. So I'm hoping that that feels like it's got a really good grip for me to get started. So I simply help guide this a little bit. I'll take one side and then I flip it to the other side and just help get that started. And I actually flipped it open, sorry. Let me flip this back open again. So that right there is what I accidentally flipped open when I was flipping it back and forth, sorry. So I'm going to open the teeth up and I'm going to push that down inside the teeth and get a good grip, and make sure that's got a good grip. And make sure, give a good tug, yep. You can see how it's got a good grip there now. And then I'm going to pull this, just kind of help guide the end of that through. And once you get a good start, then it pulls really simply, easily the rest of the way through. There we go. And the bear's arm is really a good one to use this on because it's a lot narrower. There we go. Like I say, once you get a good start, it just comes all the way through. And there is that bear. You can see it still has a good grip. So if you get a good grip, you're fine to get that all the way through. And just flip all your pieces. And again, I like this turning tool because the turning tool actually, you can see how it pushes out that nice round part of the bear's foot. All right, stuffing. When you stuff this with the polyfill, you want to make sure you don't overstuff your bear, or it's just really stiff bear, and you want it to have a nice little floppy legs and arms. That's what's so fun about that. So the way you tell is if you have ever done meat or tenderized meat, you use your hand, because certain parts of your hand have a certain tenderness to it. So right here, if you feel the palm of your hand right here, that's about how you want your bear to feel stuffing wise. You want it to have a little bit of softness to it, but not too hard, not like your knuckle or something. So this is a little overstuffed. You only want to stuff it to about halfway, and I've got too much stuffing. And if you have kids that are helping you with this project and they're having a blast stuffing and they'll stuff it a little too full, no problem. Just grab a little crochet hook or a plastic hook like that, and you can just pull that extra polyfill out just like that. And now you've got your bear, and look at that leg. It's ready to assemble. All right, we're gonna talk about assembly of the arms and legs and the head. I already have a head attached to this one. I don't on this one, but I need the leg to attach. So if you'll bear with me, normally I would give you two options here. So you could either put the bear's head or attach the bear's head to a flat body, or you can put the arms and legs on, stuff the body, and attach the head, whichever way you like. Got a fun story for you really quick. So my brother FaceTimed me the other day, and he's in Colorado, and he said, I need help. And I said, what do you need help with? And he's like, your Kimberbear. And I was pretty excited that my brother was making a Kimberbear. So him and his wife and his kids and were there at the house, and so they were all making Kimberbears to give, because he's a fireman and he wanted to make sure that he had some on hand. So he gave me a suggestion of, have you tried attaching the head to a flat body? He thought that was a little bit easier. So I wanted to share his tip with you, as well as the other way we've always been doing it. But I love that that was a great tip, and I love that you guys share and help each other out when we get stumped with ideas. So once the body is stuffed with your polyfill, then you'll want to attach the leg, or if you were attaching the legs before you stuff the body, it's all the same. So the first thing you do is you take the opening and you tuck that the extra fabric, you'll tuck it in to where that stitch line is. So it's no raw edges right there. And that's why we've cut this a little bit extra long, is so that you can actually just take this and you'll just tuck that in right inside. Make sure your toes are facing in and that they're about the same length. And then you'll take this to your machine and you're gonna zigzag stitch, and do a nice good size zigzag, as well as make it pretty snug so that this leg stays on really, really well. And it's amazing when you stitch this that all those stitches get hidden. As you can see right here, I stitched this on with almost a solid zigzag, but I love this fabric. It hides it really, really well, so you don't see the stitches. So once you've got your bear all to put together and attached, I'm going to show you one quick thing before I show you how to attach the head with a ladder stitch. I love taking this point turner, this 2-point turner, and right here, as you can see on this seam, you can see there's some of the nap of the fur that's tucked in the seam. That's what this tool, and I love this tool for this. You just simply glide it right along the seam. Can you see how it's just flipping that right out? And then you can also use the other side, this other side right here, if you want, and you can scrape some of that, and then your seam is hidden. You can see this muzzle seam, but that's a decorative stitch that we don't want to cover. But as you can see, that came right out of the seam. All right, so to start with the stitching on the head, there will be a step-by-step document that you can follow on stitching the head on as well, if you would like. It will be attached to the downloaded video. As well as, I wanted to point out, when you use your needle and thread, make sure you double the thread and tie a good sized knot. Now what we'd like to do is we're going to start, and I'm going to try to do this facing your direction. We're going to start at this seam right here, and we're going to tuck this next fabric down to the stitch line. Then I'm going to take my needle and my thread, and you don't have to be exact. This is the great part about this fabric, is you don't have to be exact. And I come from the inside to the outside, okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing with the neck. I'm going to start, because the neck's going to go on like this, I'm going to start above that seam line, you can see right there, and I'm going to just grab, and I'm going to go sideways and go in and go out. And this is what we would call a ladder stitch, okay? And then I'm going to come back down here to the bottom, to the neck, and I'm going to go from the inside to the outside. And I'm going to pull, and it's starting to, you can see how it's going to pull together. And then I'm going to come back up here to the head, and I'm gonna go above that line again and go sideways. And I'm gonna pull. And then I'm gonna go back down here to the neck, and I'm gonna go in and back out in the same spot again, or right next to that. And you can go pretty close. And then once you start pulling these, you can pull all these stitches tight just like that. And can you see how that cinched the neck right up? So what I'd like to do is stitch all the way across the top, and then you're going to pull that tight, and it's going to cinch the neck on the front. And then you simply turn it to the back, and you are going to do the same thing. And if you feel like you need to at this point add a little more stuffing, because you don't want the head flopping around, you want your head to stay on really nicely. So you can add a little more stuffing in there at this point if you needed to. Now, if you'd already sewn your neck on with it flat, where's my leg? Then you can add some stuffing up in the neck as you're stuffing the body to hold your head up. And as you can see, the body's not stuffed on this, but the neck stays up pretty good. So I just have to add a little bit of stuffing to this body and add the leg. So either way you go, it's a great way to sew on that head. And thank you so much for joining us, and we'll hopefully see you again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.